This represents the brain of the poor, and if each speck is worth $1,000, this is the modest sum it earns the average American over a lifetime. A quiet fortune, built grain by grain, yet never quite enough to escape the weight of struggle. And this is a millionaire's brain. And this is a billionaire's brain. And this is how much their brain generates. Same biology, completely different programming. You've been trained to think one way about money. They were trained to think another. This isn't about IQ. It's not about hustle. It's not even about luck. It's about the software running in your head. You wake up early. You go to work. You follow the rules. You do everything right. And still, your bank account barely gets above zero. Your dreams feel like a joke. And that little voice whispers, "You'll never make it." Yet, while you slept last night, someone else made your 5-year salary without lifting a finger. Why is this? You've been lied to. Not by evil people, not by some grand conspiracy, but something far more insidious. A script so old, so deep you don't even know it's running. But what if I told you that everything you believe about money, everything you were taught about wealth was designed to keep you broke? What if the very thoughts in your head about being good with money are the chains keeping you poor? What if there is a way of seeing the invisible programming that's been sabotaging you since childhood? By the end of this, you'll see the matrix. You'll understand why you think what you think. And more importantly, you'll finally have the tools to debug, delete, and download a new way of thinking. One that builds wealth instead of blocks it. The script that's been running your life. From the moment you could speak, they started programming you. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy. Money is the root of all evil. Sound familiar? We all know these phrases. But can you even remember who or when you heard them? I can't. But I think it's ingrained within us. These aren't just sayings. They're software installed in your mind before you could defend yourself. And like any old software, it runs in the background, silently controlling everything until you replace it with something better. You didn't choose those beliefs, but they impact the choices of your life. Every time you hesitate to charge what you're worth, that's the program. Every time you feel guilty about wanting more, that's the program. Every time you think wealthy people are somehow bad, that's the program. So, where did this come from? Let me take you way back to the 1600s. Here's a 60-second history lesson. The Puritans taught that wealth was a sign of God's favor. But, and here's the trap, you had to suffer for it. Work yourself to death for it. Never enjoy it. That would be sinful. As the influential Puritan minister Richard Baxter in his widely read work, A Christian Directory wrote, "Be suspicious of ease. God tries us more with riches than with poverty." Sounds a lot like he's saying, rich people are greedy. Right? Fast forward. Horatio Alger, an influential 19th century author, writes stories about the boys who get rich through pure moral character, through patience, through being good. He famously said, "The love of money is the root of all evil." Starting to get the picture? While his books were fiction, they felt true. And he sold over 25 million copies, mostly to working-class families dreaming of something better. But these were the first layers of the script. Morality, patience, obedience, the real rollout, the scaled distribution of this mindset. Well, it came a bit later, not by a teacher, not by a politician, but by a billionaire, John D. Rockefeller. Rockefeller didn't just build an oil empire. He built a mindset factory, and it's still impacting you today. Through his General Education Board, he reshaped the U.S. school system. He didn't want innovation. He wanted order. He once said, and this is real, "I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers." This wasn't just an opinion. It became national infrastructure. From homework to hall passes, the whole system was built to create perfect employees, not free minds. So, by the time you were old enough to question it, you didn't. But Rockefeller only built the system. He laid the tracks. Someone else ran the trains.
During the war, the U.S. needed unity, sacrifice, and mass compliance. That's where Elmer Davis comes in. President Roosevelt appointed him to lead the Office of War Information. With a $25 million budget and 30,000 staff, Davis didn't just report on the news. He shaped belief. While he helped to counter enemy propaganda and maintain morale on the home front, he also made sure every American believed in the safe path. The path: college, job, mortgage, retirement. Generation after generation, the message got clearer. Work hard. Don't ask questions. Be grateful for what you get. And here you are still following that script, still playing their game. Well, they play a completely different one. It's the reason I know you'll relate to at least one of these. Loss aversion. You fear losing $100 more than you want to make $100. In fact, this famous study in the 1970s actually shows losses feel about twice as painful as gains feel good. So, it's no surprise you sit on cash while inflation eats it alive. Your brain is prioritizing safety, not strategy. But what got you here will not get you financially free. Or how about cognitive ease? You trust what feels familiar. You'll panic about good debt, but drop $1,200 on a phone without thinking. Relate? Well, you're not alone. It's why 60% of Americans couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency bill without borrowing or going into debt. Yet, the average iPhone user in America upgrades every 2 to 3 years, often paying $1,000 plus upfront or through a monthly plan. Or how about the fact that scarcity actually shrinks your IQ? When you're stressed about money, your decision-making gets worse. So much so that research shows financial stress can drop your IQ points by 13 points. It's like financial fight or flight. You're not bad with money. You're making decisions with the nervous system on fire. And every failure, every disappointment, every time you tried and didn't make it, well, your brain learns to stop trying, to stop believing, to stop hoping. Not because you're weak, because hope hurts when it dies.
The wealthy think differently, not because they're smarter or luckier, but because they operate on a different mental software. They don't chase money. They chase leverage. They build systems that generate income continuously, rather than trading time for money. Their mindset reframes risk, opportunity, and value. While most people ask, what if I lose money? The wealthy ask, what if I don't invest? 3 core frameworks define this thinking. 1. The $4 test shifts focus from small expenses to building income-generating systems. 2. The 3-21 rule helps identify problems to solve, monetize them, and automate delivery. 3. The 72-hour rule encourages fast action over perfection, knowing that momentum beats hesitation. Wealth is not about working harder. It's about thinking like an owner, not an employee. It's about building once and getting paid continuously. This mindset can be learned, installed, and upgraded. The choice is yours. Stay with the old script or install the new operating system. Your future depends on the thoughts you choose today.